Kia ora tātou. Everyone, hey, Holly, obviously probably doing this just for you, which is alright. Um, yeah, just doing my presentation for my media creation. Sorry, I'm a bit of in a funny room. This is just at home in the office. Um, yeah, I just got back from Samoa yesterday, so just trying to get this through to you as soon as possible so I don't delay you anymore. Um, but yeah, just going to do a presentation on my media creation. Sorry, I can't figure out how to put the PowerPoint through for you to see at the same time as my presentation. So hopefully you'll have my printout, the hard copy of my blog in front of you. So if I make reference, you'll know what I'm talking about at least. That's the idea. But yeah, so basically I did a blog. I think it was in the third or fourth week. You brought in a guest lecturer, a lady, and she talked about how she runs a blog primarily for recognition of female sports athletes. And she just talked about how easy it was and how good it was to get her point across through a pretty easy medium, and she had sort of built it and got better at it and sort of expanded, and she found new ways to get her point across. And so I thought that for me that was the easiest way. I've been really busy this semester, so I thought it was a good way for me to do it on my own because I can do a group and get it out of the way. So that's what I did. I just followed exactly what she said. I went on to WordPress.com, and it was pretty much the easiest process you could do. You sign up, and I just chose a format or a template for my blog, which I thought would function well, would be easy to read, but also could be aesthetically quite good to look at. And so that's what I did. I just used my judgment to do that, and then sort of filled it in with images and fonts, and just to make it look and sound a bit cooler. That's why I have the image of the haka, because my blog is on race and ethnicity and sports and leisure. That's quite a topic that's quite close to my heart. Obviously, I'm a really avid sports fan, but what I do for work, what I believe in, has a lot to do with race and culture. And so, yeah, it was an easy mesh for me to go straight into that. So that's what I did. I sort of created it around that, images and words and titles that sort of draw your attention to pretty quickly. You'd realise that my blog is about racism. Oh, not racism, sorry. I'm about race and sport. So, yeah, that's my goal. Hopefully, it went across as well as I thought it did. Um, as far as the research that went into it, obviously we only had 1 week on race and sport and leisure, so I couldn't do a whole lot on that. So it had to be on my own back, the research, which is fine. So I utilised our readings, literature that we sort of went through, and then primarily went off news, and I followed news and followed issues, and tagged along onto the stories, like the one here on Adam Goody's in Australia. This guy, that there was a massive story on him and media coverage, and so it was pretty hard to miss. And so I just followed that, and took my perspective, and hopefully with some good support, and some structured arguments. So my research was, it was more about keeping current. That's what I wanted most of my blog to be, is to be current, actually not to be just drawing on stuff from years and years ago, but actually say, well, where is the place for race and sport today? So yeah, I followed a lot of articles, a few things that were on my heart, in terms of the first article about people playing for one nation and not being able to play for others, and the respect for culture and multinational players. And so that's the sort of stuff that I'd been thinking about, that I wanted to put in as well. And so I did my own research there and talked to people that I know that are actually in that situation themselves, and my own experience. So that's how I sort of went about research, is keeping up to date, talking to people, listening on my own experience, and then trying to use a bit of the literature to back me up, hopefully, and come to some pretty succinct but clear sort of viewpoints. And that's what I wanted to do. Is my blog is to sound like me, look like me, and ultimately, at my own fail, probably be a representation of my voice. So yeah, My intended audience was ones like myself, 18 to 25. I sort of, through my research, I saw that a lot of the viewpoints about race and sport had actually been really generational, from fathers and grandfathers, how they viewed players or games or whatever. And so I sort of thought, it'd be cool to target my own generation, and sort of talk about that stuff and start to maybe question viewpoints, and hopefully with my intention is to create a new viewpoint, or at least have them make up their own minds about how they view race, do they think race is actually that visible in sport? Is it culture needed? Is there positive or negative spheres to sport with race? And so that was kind of, and that was what I wanted to target, is that sort of group of males who, like me, avidly watch sport, are engaged with going into professional athletes. Even in our class, I know a lot of people will be going to those arenas where I want to make them aware of some of this stuff and think about it. And that's kind of flows into what my take-home message was, is actually is building awareness. It kind of frustrated me that a lot of the articles I read prior, even outside of the ones that I wrote, and people I talked to, the viewpoints that they had were actually not backed up by their own meaning or research or anything. It was just, it sounded like a viewpoint of their dad or their granddad. And so my take-home message was do I notice racial issues within sport, positive or negative? And so that's why it was more about building awareness and going, hey, did you notice this? Or is that just so in your subconscious that you just view sport? And is that a bad thing or a good thing, just to view sport and not notice wider social issues? And yeah, just for me, playing sport and loving sport, it was a question of myself even. It was like, man, did I notice that? Man, that's so ingrained into me, how commentators speak about black athletes or white athletes. It's so ingrained to see how black athletes are portrayed in sports media, and compared to white. And so yeah, for me, it was trying to resurface viewpoints, recreate what I would say is your own voice, and trying to bring that out of other people through my blog, maybe, is just to get them to challenge and step back. It might not change them, that's all right, that's not for me to do, but it's actually to give them opportunity to go, oh, maybe, man, I didn't actually think about that, or man, that is an issue. And so that's what it was about. For me, it's about exposing culture in the stuff I love, which is sport. My blog, I wanted it to be me, and there's the two big parts of me, is sport and culture. So that's what I expressed. I wanted to challenge. I wanted to bring a different perspective, and something that maybe a little bit ruffles feathers, but hopefully, just more than anything, just challenges perceptions, and makes people rethink how they view sport. Is race actually part of it? Is race relevant, or have we moved past it? Is the race issues that we used to be so worried about, are they finished now? So yeah, that was my blog. Hopefully you get to have a look at it. Hopefully it marks well. But yeah, sorry I had to do a video late. Hopefully this gets to you soon. I really appreciate it. Ngami, tēnā koutou katoa.